This is the E-Commerce Edge podcast with your host, Jason Greenwood. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the podcast. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome Rush from Sell the Trend to the pod. Welcome, Rush.
Hey, how are you? Thanks for having me, Jason, and thanks for everybody listening. I'm really excited to be on this podcast.
I'm super excited to have you along for the ride today. You said you are from Ontario in the great white north of Canada.
You got it.
So it's starting to warm up, right?
You know what? I can't complain. Every single year that goes by, I'm like, you get used to more and more the weather, and now it's just it's not a big deal.
Get used to it. I reckon that I'm a big motorsport guy, and I think growing up in Southern California, I rode motorcycles and then had motorcycles in New Zealand and other power sports and jet skis and everything else. I reckon if I moved to Canada, I would just have to get into dirt bikes in the summer and snowmobiles in the winter is what I'd have to do.
If you have the activities planned for the winter, you got nothing to worry about. You actually be looking forward to the snow. The snow is beautiful. I love the way it looks. Driving in it sometimes, not the best.
Not so much?
Nah.
Salt on the roads and everything else, right?
Salt on the road, and you got to get those tires fixed up every year. Get ready for that snow and for that salt.
Yeah. So what is more popular, putting studs on the tires or using chains? What's the deal?
I live in the city, so there's not a lot of that going on. But if you are a little bit north of the city, where the roads are unassumed or whatever the hell you call them, you need to put the chains. So the chains are the popular option. Studs, I don't know if you want to run over like an animal or something like that. If you run over really with a car, I don't think you
with studs on the tires.
But yeah, chains. So if you ever come up here and you're doing the trek through Canada, get some chains on.
Okay, makes absolute sense. Now you founded and you are the CEO of Sell the Trend. You've been doing that for over 5 years now. Before we talk about what Sell the Trend is in terms of the platform and its functionality, how the heck did you get into this e-commerce game? Everybody has their own unique story. I don't think I've ever had two people that appeared on the pod that had even a remotely similar story about how they got into the industry. Everybody's got a very unique story. And sometimes it feels like we all got dragged through a bush backwards. And that's how we ended up in the industry. And we have very interesting and diverse backgrounds. And I'd love to know yours.
Sure. And that's so true. Everybody's really comes at this from a different angle, and it's always interesting to see where people come from. So the way I got into it is for the last X amount of years, I've been building platforms for different companies and also for other companies that I was involved in building platforms. And one of the previous things that I built was a platform that we built with EMI Music, which was an American Idol, online American Idol, where people would submit their music and we'll share the music, and we will rank them based on data points, based on how many people liked their songs, how many people interacted with their page, and all that kind of stuff. And I was the CTO for that company and basically built up the entire system, this kind of algorithm-based system where at the end of the season, we picked 3 winners, and those winners got record deals with EMI Music, right? And now it's Capitol. So that's really was my first building a massive database algorithm. And it was really exciting, and it was really fun, and it was a really fun time for me. And then after that, I think EMI got bought out, Capitol got bought out, mergers, Universal, and everything like that. The project ended. And then I was like, okay, I want to build something else that is completely my own. And then I was always interested in e-commerce. I was always interested in entrepreneurship, buying and selling, and all those kind of things. And dropshipping around 20 was really exploding. And I was thinking, how can I be involved in this? Still e-commerce, but more on of a development edge instead of actually selling and buying. And then that's when I started looking and seeing that one of the most important things for success in e-commerce was finding those winning products, right? Finding products that you're able to build an entire business around, or at least launch an entire business and then complement it with other products. And then when I looked around available in terms of product discovery tools, I realized really quickly that I can build like a better wheel, basically, something that's going to be way better, that's going to really use data as its foundation. And that was really the impetus for Sell the Trend. And that's how we grew and built Sell the Trend. So now, years later, Sell the Trend is a completely different platform. You can build an entire business using Sell the Trend. You can host your website with Sell the Trend. You don't have to use any other tools or any other platforms. And you can really do everything with Sell the Trend. But the beginning was that product discovery tool 5 years ago.
Well, exciting journey. And then obviously COVID put the fire under online businesses, and everybody was trying to look at forms of alternative income, and they were trying to stand up a business quickly and trying to figure out, hey, how can I do a side hustle? How can I maybe get paid? Whether that be in the United States, obviously there was some safety nets put in there where people could get their COVID funds, COVID relief fund. Then they were maybe also making a little bit of an income from their job, even if they weren't going to work. And so they were thinking, geez, now I've got all this free time on my hands. How can I create a business where maybe I'm less dependent on my employer, on my job, on my regular wages? How can I build something that is uniquely my own and really starts to remove dependence on the system? Because we all found out just how vulnerable we could be during COVID. And I think a lot of people were looking for that. And of course, the online TAM, the total addressable market, absolutely exploded during COVID as well. Now it's come back down to earth with a pretty solid thud. And so a lot of those COVID-born online brands have gone the way of the dodo, and they found that as the TAM shrunk, they just couldn't compete with the major players. And to be fair, I have been fairly harsh and critical on the whole dropshipping industry because in many ways, I've seen it pitched as a get-rich-quick scheme. I've seen it sold as, hey, plug into AliExpress or whatever, plug into these Chinese platforms of supply, plug into the Temus of the world, plug into whatever, suck down a catalog, list some products, go selling, stand up a cheap $20 a month Shopify store, and get rich quick. Now, on the other side of that, which I think, frankly, Shopify has to own a little bit of responsibility here. I think a lot of the dropship consultants and training providers and course providers have a lot to answer for here. But what I'm ultimately seeing is that a lot of these people that thought that dropshipping might be their way out of being dependent on the man, they then go to the likes of Reddit. I spent a ton of time on Reddit, and they go, like, look, I've stood up this store, I've listed a couple of products, I've spent 10 grand on advertising, and I haven't made a single sale. And so I think there's been a lot of disillusionment in the market by a lot of people who were sucked in by the promise of instant riches via dropshipping, and they got burnt. So have you seen that evolution of the industry as well? And maybe now what we're seeing is that only the dropshippers that actually know how to run an online business, know how to do proper marketing, know how to drive traffic and find underpriced attention, and actually know how to build a brand, those are the ones that are continuing to win. And kind of everyone else who looked at it as a get-rich-quick scheme has either gone out of business or is continuing to only do it as a side hustle.
You are, preaching to the choir over here, right? That's really, as I go on these podcasts and as we teach in our courses, the idea here is you are building a business. You are not doing this as a get-rich-quick scheme. You are not going to turn $1 million over the weekend. You know what I'm saying? This is a business. It has to be treated as a business. And the whole lure of the Lamborghini lifestyle and all that kind of stuff is, it's important to have dreams. It's important to have vision, and it's important to have one big things.
Aspirations.
Absolutely. It's important. You have to. Although nobody wants to think of the grind. Nobody wants to think of, I'm going to wake up this morning, I can't wait to grind. You know what I'm saying? You want to be looking forward to something good, right? But you got to do the work, right? Like, it's not going to deliver itself. And that's why anytime I appear on any kind of podcast or even in our courses, we are teaching this as you are building a business, and you have to do some of the boring things that are required when building a business. You got to build an email list. You gotta build a proper e-commerce website. You gotta have support. You gotta be good to your customers. You can't ignore them. You have to build this as a real business. Sure, you can find winning products on Sell the Trend and get that leg up. But if you don't build a business around these winning products, with supporting products, with some of these other quote unquote boring ideas, it's hard to last. Finding that winning product, it's hard to last. You actually need to build, like you're saying, an actual business supported by regular bread and butter e-commerce business practices. And then you got to be committed to it, right? Otherwise, it's hard to make it work.
Yeah, and to be fair, a lot of these, because they'll say, like on Reddit, they'll say, roast my site. Hey guys, go and roast my site and have a look. And I just want to cry. When I get to the site, they've got lorem ipsum text on the About Us page. They've got on the contact page, they've got a forum. They don't even have an email address. They've got no physical address. They've got no PO box. They've got no location information. They've got no trust marks. They've not got no founder story. They've got nothing, absolutely nothing on those sites that would lead me to believe that they were a legitimate business. And this is from someone that does probably roughly 90% of my spending, my retail spend, is done online. So I don't just work in the space, I legit hate physical shopping, and I would prefer to do 100% of my shopping online if I could. And so the reality is, I'm a big proponent of online shopping, online browsing, online research. I'm a big proponent of that. But it does break my heart when you go to these websites and they go, "Why am I not making any sales?" And I'm going, "Would you buy from you? If you went to that website, would you spend money with you, or would you think, if I put $100, or if I spend 150 bucks on this website, it's 99% sure not only am I not going to get my money back, but I'm probably not going to get the product either, because I look at the website and I go, this is a joke. This creates no sense of uniqueness, no sense of curation, no sense of brand, no sense of trust. It basically has none of the foundational elements that would make me want to do business with that brand."
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's why when I call these things, you got to do the boring work. The boring work is what separates you, to be honest with you, from the people that make it and the people that don't make it. Because a lot of people are doing exactly what you're saying. They're throwing up a page with products that they didn't even write the description for. They didn't curate the description. And they have all of these quote unquote mistakes that you're doing that basically makes people, when they look at your website, have zero confidence in the business. And some of these things are like a feeling. Like shoppers are not, they might not go to the founder story, but the fact that they see maybe that there's about us in the menu item, it triggers a feeling that, okay, there's something going on here. Like the hallmarks of a
They're
legitimate business
legit.
are all there. Yeah, all the hallmarks are there, right? So doing the absolute bare minimum effort, you have to expect the bare minimum result. That's the bottom line, right?
Yeah, and so when surely you must get a lot of inquiries from people that assume that this is a get rich quick model, and that they can retire to Bali in month 2 and just run their business from their laptop sitting on the beach. And so how do you start to educate your potential customers of your platform and your technology and your services, frankly? How do you start to talk them down from that heady high of, man, I'm all in on this, I'm ready to spend the money, I'm ready to jump in, boots and all, etc. Or maybe I'm ready to do this as a side hustle, but I really want to make it my main hustle really quickly. How do you talk them down from the ledge of disillusionment without also dashing their hopes? And it must be a fine balance to strike. You don't want to completely destroy any hope or any opportunity that they might be able to turn this into a legitimate business, but you also have to inject them with a significant dose of realism, and that must be a fine line to walk. So how do you approach that?
100%, 100%. And you nailed it. It's a fine line, right? You want to make sure that people are still excited, because excitement and energy and passions required to succeed really in anything, not even e-commerce, right? So you got to keep that excitement and passion and excitement. But at the same time, the expectations are set by the way that we offer courses that come with the subscription of Sell the Trend. And in that course, one of the main courses that we have is led by me. And that's the main course that you get with Sell the Trend. And when I do the course, I'm teaching in the course that you need to do this as a business. These are the things that you have to build on your website. The course doesn't say, pick the first product on Sell the Trend, add it to your store, click this button, now you have a store, Sell the Trend store, you're off to the races, spend some money on Facebook, and good luck. Like we don't do that, obviously, because we know that doesn't work. And we want our customers to last with us forever, right? As long as they're in the game, as long as they're building their businesses, we want them to stay with us. And the only way to do this is to make sure that we are creating proper expectations and teaching them the way that things are done correctly and the way that we've seen success in our past customers be achieved. So you're absolutely right. It is a fine line. And we don't want to say, hey, it's going to take you X amount of hours. We looked at the numbers, it's going to take you X amount of hours to achieve X amount of sales, because everybody's different, right? Everybody's different. Part inspiration, part education, and just combining the two.
Love it. And let's now get into a little bit more of the nitty gritty of the Sell the Trend platform and the technology. You are a SaaS platform. You offer integration out of the box as part of your platform with the major product providers, so AliExpress, CJ Dropshipping, etc. You offer integration, so if someone already has a Shopify or a WooCommerce store, you can integrate the Sell the Trend technology into Shopify to populate the catalog, etc. But you also offer an all-in-one store technology where you provide the storefront, you provide the order management, you provide the integration with AliExpress or CJ Dropshipping, you provide some of the brand functionality, you provide some of the analytics and sales and performance intelligence, and you also integrate with obviously the major ad platforms, the Googles, the Metas, etc. So you can either, as I understand it, and full transparency, I've never used the Sell the Trend platform before, but as I understand it, you can be an all-in-one e-commerce engine, or you can basically be the plumbing or the technology layer that sits over something like a Shopify or a WooCommerce that brings the drop shipping capability into those platforms.
You nailed it, and I'm going to take this clip and we're going to use it in advertising. Seriously, it's exactly what it is, right? So you can build your entire business with Sell the Trend. We have a full e-commerce platform, so you don't need a Shopify or WooCommerce or anything like that. We have this fully integrated dropshipping ecosystem where, for one price, you can basically build your entire business with Sell the Trend. And not only are you reducing your overhead, but also you're reducing the connectivity between running a Shopify, running a this, and connecting this supplier and all that kind of stuff. It's all integrated and it will all be seamless, right? And like I said, when we started Sell the Trend, we built our name on product discovery and winning products. And that entire technology is still in Sell the Trend, right? So it's not like it's a slimmed down version. We still are, I pride myself at being at the forefront of product discovery. So if you want to find those best winning products, you go to Sell the Trend, they're all there. But now you're able to one click add them directly to your store. We do have some additional technology, AI product descriptions and all that kind of stuff that will get you 90% of the way there. Then you can customize them and make them your own if you wish. And basically, the reason that we really wanted to incorporate everything, we wanted to take the grindy overhead out of the building of this business and then hand it over to you and say, okay, now that there's no more excuses here. You got your store, you got the products, you got the suppliers, you got all this, you got the automation, you got the inventory management, you got all that stuff. Now, what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it? Now, there's no more excuses, right? So the only thing that's left now is what do you want to do with this brand? How do you want to expand it? How you want to market it? And how you want to build it?
And how do you guys find, or how do you address the challenge where if I go to the Shopify app store today, I'm probably going to find over 100 drop shipping apps that I can plug into my store, and I can plug that into AliExpress and 10 different other Chinese sourcing platforms, even Alibaba, depending on if you want to do B2B. And so the reality is that there is so much competition in this space. How do you guys set yourselves apart from those other plugins that can effectively enable a Shopify for drop shipping and sourcing management? How do you guys see yourself as differing from some of those other apps that are in the marketplace?
Sure. So the nature of any business is competition, right? There's always going to be competition. So it's not something that we ever shied from. It's something that we always, to be honest with you, inspired by. We're inspired by, we've been around for a long time. Sell the Trend has been around for a long time. And one of the things that I think sustained us is that we're always improving. We're always adding features. We're always expanding. We're not standing still. We don't have technology that is sitting from 4 years ago that is sitting the exact same way it was 4 years ago. And one thing that you can definitely rest assured, you join Sell the Trend, you're always going to be at the forefront of what e-commerce technology is available, right? Whether it's product discovery, whether it's automation, whether it's store building and all that kind of stuff. The way that we've always differentiated ourselves is with the quality of the application and of always upgrading, always updating. And it's not even doesn't come, it comes apart from just market conditions. You always got to move forward, but it also comes from the fact that I get bored to a certain extent. I don't want to be just running the same thing over and over again. I want to look at something that I'm creating and always be proud of it. So that's really where it comes from is I'm always excited by new technologies, always excited by this latest thing. And if it makes sense for the business, it makes sense for our customers. That's why if you join our email list, sometimes we send out messages to our customers saying, hey, what do you want? Do you want this feature? You're interested in that feature? We're always active in our communities and same thing, asking people, what are you looking for from Sell the Trend? Where do you want to see Sell the Trend move? And then again, if it makes sense for us, we move there.
And when you first decided to build this technology and the platform layer and the plumbing and the integrations, was this you scratching an itch? Were you saying, look, I want to actually build out a dropshipping business, but I don't see anything in the market that kind of ticks all the boxes for me as an operator, as a brand owner, et cetera. This doesn't really meet my needs. Or maybe I would need a stack of 3 or 4 technologies or platforms to tick all the boxes for me. Actually, I see a massive gap and an opportunity here, not only to build something that I could use to build my own business, but then I can take the Amazon model, which is to take a cost center and convert it into a profit center and say, look, let's turn this technology that I built for myself into a platform that I can then sell as a SaaS platform that other people can use to build their own businesses.
100%. You nailed it. 100%. It's almost we've been talking for a long time. It's exactly what it is. I saw a gap in the market where other tools were, to be honest with you, they were just too basic and they didn't seem to have any real technology behind the technology. You know what I'm saying? So it felt if those tools are being, sold and people seem to enjoy them, let's up the game. Let's take it to the next level and let's build something that is really going to, it's not expose those tools for being like really basic, but to be honest with you, expose those tools for being really basic. So and that's really what it came from, is how can I take what people are doing and then expand it 10 times, right? Improve it 10 times, add 10 times the capabilities and 10 times the truth. And that's really exactly what it is. It was from seeing what's available out there and knowing that I can build a better wheel, so to speak.
And let's talk about two functions that you guys now offer. I don't know if you always offered this, but it seems like maybe this is a kind of a new pieces of the platform that you saw, hey, our customers actually need these functionalities to drive their business. We don't want them to have to go to other platforms to secure these pieces of functionality. One is the video ads creator, and the other one is the influencer engagement calculator, which allows your merchants to both find influencers and identify the forecast ROI of working with those influencers. So it's a kind of almost like an influencer management platform and allows you to create the video ads all underneath the one roof, so to speak.
Absolutely. And I think that goes again to the way I look at anything is I enjoy businesses and I enjoy companies and software and even just like establishments that always give more than what's expected. I always wanted to give more. Hey, how can we build something extra into the platform that is part of e-commerce, part of the blanket? We're not creating like a printing press or something. Like it's not something completely different, something that our customers will actually find use. And funny enough that you mentioned the video creator, it's one of our most popular features in terms of people really, which is sometimes you build stuff and you do the research and you build it and you're like, nah, even though people said they really wanted this, the use is not there, right? And then sometimes you build something where you feel like, okay, people are asking for this and I really think it's a really great idea. And then people really respond to it. And the video ads creator, which funny enough, we have a new update coming for it very soon. To address some additional enhancements and features. But yes, so it's always, again, much like I always wanted to keep Sell the Trend moving forward, but also there's always a desire to give more than what is expected.
And let's talk about how the advent of AI and it becoming the buzzword of the century, it feels. We went from AR, VR, that whole Web3 just when FTX imploded, obviously a lot of that stuff went up in smoke.
Yeah.
It's making a comeback now in many respects, but It feels like the entire tech world and the entire investment world now have shifted. They took all their cannons and what was pointed at AI, say AR, NM, and virtual VR. Now they've taken those cannons and they've altered them and pointed them fairly and squarely at AI. How has that transformed your business? How have you started to leverage, for example, large language models in your platform? How has that enhanced the functional and operational capabilities of your platform? And how do you think about road mapping AI into your technology?
Sure. So right off the bat, we were doing AI before AI was a thing. From the beginning, we were using AI technology to source our winning products and make those connections and then feeding a model with products and getting basically the winners out of it. So we've been doing AI for a long time, but over the last 2 years or year and a half, it's been so fast. The move has been like ridiculously fast with the large language models. When you first used it, it almost felt like the ultimate winning product. The first time that I put a prompt into any of these language models and got the response back, it was literally like a eureka moment. It was like, wow, like we went from zero to it felt like we almost went from 0 to 100 in like overnight in terms of AI and its acceptance. And it caused obviously quite the ruckus. When I see something like that, when I can see something that's so exciting that people, it was exciting me personally, but also exciting almost 100 million people jumped on, I think OpenAI's, 100 million people in a week or a month or whatever it was like one of the fastest growing applications. Obviously, there's something there, but it made sense for e-commerce. It made sense for our application. Speaking earlier, saying I always wanted to add new tools and always want to be improving, we immediately jumped on and wanted to include some of those technologies inside the application. So right now, with Sell the Trend, besides the winning product, we can use our brand builder functionality to generate product descriptions, generate social media posts, TikTok posts, Facebook posts. And with one click, you can really give it the product that you're planning on listing to your store. With one click, now it's generated all the stuff that nobody really likes doing, to be honest with you. If you've ever ran an e-commerce business or ran a store or anything like that, nobody wants to write. Not everybody's good at writing, to be honest with you. Actually, very few people are good at writing, unless that's something either you're passionate for or what you learn. Creating those product descriptions that are not just copy-paste from AliExpress, which drives me nuts, where we can still see some stores with just, let's not even go there, because it's almost hurtful when I see that on people's stores still with all the available technologies, and just was never a good idea before. And now with the available technologies and Sell the Trend and other tools, it's so easy to generate product descriptions that you can then add your own spin to if you want to. But we do that. We also have the ability to one-click add customer reviews directly to your stores, and we're using some image matching and stuff like that to get the proper reviews. So we've always added AI functionality, and we don't see any really let up. We're going to keep adding as much AI technology when it makes sense to us as a business and also to our customers. We're definitely going to be adding that. And it's such an exciting field, and we like exciting things here at Sell the Trend.
And do you advise or recommend to your merchants that even if they think they're onto a winning product, even if they think that they've identified this gap in the market, even if they think this is something that they can sell 1 million units of, do you advise them to at least get a single buy and pay for at least one sample of every single product they're going to put on their store? Because I have found, I've shopped off AliExpress for years for my own personal use, and there is a wild variation in quality, even from the sellers and even from the products and the brands that have maybe some good reviews, etc. The destination market where these products are going will vary in its expectations of quality, of speed, of delivery. They'll just have different expectations. They'll have different expectations around the instruction manuals being in English versus being in Chinese. The different target markets will have very different expectations around a whole range of facets and attributes around a product, right? Mm-hmm. And I have just found that sometimes I get an absolute banger of a product off of AliExpress, and other times I get it and I go, this was shit. I would never buy this product again. It was basically a waste of money. The images weren't accurate. The product description wasn't accurate. The reviews were clearly bullshit because this quality of this product is bad. Do you recommend that? Because I see that as maybe the holy grail of mistakes that most of these dropshipping sites seem to make, is that they never physically hold the goods in their hand ever. And so they don't actually know. They're taking reviews from that seller off AliExpress. They're taking the descriptions or maybe the imagery, et cetera. And it's impossible to grab, if they're the manufacturer of the product and you don't ever hold it in your hands, you've got to take their images, because there's no way for you to take your own pictures or your own videos, even unboxing videos or usage videos. You just can't do that unless you physically hold the goods in your hand. So Is it your advice, even if ultimately you don't warehouse the products and ship directly, that you have the seller fulfill directly to your customers, that at least they hold the products in their hands at least once? Would that be your typical advice? Hey team, I have a big favor to ask you. Please pause this episode and send the link of this episode to someone you know that you think would enjoy this content. Really appreciate you spreading the word. This is how we grow. We're not a Joe Rogan. We don't have big, massive advertising budgets, but we absolutely want to grow. We want to get the learnings from all of these episodes out to as wide of an audience as possible, and we need your help to do it. Thank you. And now back to your listening.
So sure. So this is such a great question. And there's a lot to unpack here. So everybody is in a different part of their dropshipping journey, right? So we have beginners, we have intermediates, we have experts, experienced people on Sell the Trend, but everybody really is in a different stage of their dropshipping journey. Right off the bat, we make it a lot easier for people to identify good suppliers, good AliExpress suppliers on Sell the Trend by having the ratings available directly on the product listing page within Sell the Trend, right? So you can see quickly that this supplier has product as described, the shipping speed, and all those kind of ratings for every single supplier on AliExpress. CJ Dropshipping obviously is also a great company, and then that's almost one supplier really is what you're getting from over there. But in terms of AliExpress, which is, you're right, there's so many different suppliers on AliExpress, you really don't know what you're going to get. Right off the bat, you can see the ratings on there. But having said that, everybody's in a different part of their dropshipping journey. And for some people, they just want to get that first sale. They don't really have the thinking like, I'm going to order a product, I'm going to wait for it, I'm going to check it out, I'm going to shoot my own UGC, my own video for it, and then do a TikTok and do it. Obviously, I believe that's a little bit more advanced in a dropshipping journeys like a timeline. But initially, some people just want to get that first sale in, and that's okay. You don't really need to order that product. But as soon as you get your feet under you, absolutely, you find a product that is even doing a little bit of business, order that product in, and then start creating your own custom content for that, or hire somebody. Some people are not good at shooting a video or don't even have the ideas. There's a lot of companies out there for a little bit of money that will shoot the entire video for you and then deliver it for you. So 100% recommend holding the product. Once you get to that point where you're comfortable and then you're thinking, now I need to step it up a little bit more and then get that product, maybe shoot some videos and confirm that product is a great product that you're willing to spend even more marketing dollars for. So 100%, everybody's in a different spot. And even though that's a recommendation, not everybody's going to be ready to do it as the first thing they do when they start dropshipping.
And do you guys help assist with kind of that white label model? Because some of these dropshipping suppliers, there's multiple layers of white labeling, right? There's multiple generations or versions or iterations of white labeling. There's something as simple as give us your logo, give us your brand. We'll print off a bunch of labels, and everything we send out for you will have your name, your brand on the product and on the box that we ship out, so that it looks like it's from you and you've got this holistic branding. Then we've got the one step further beyond that, which is, okay, I want you to create a product that has some slight differences versus the product that you sell. Maybe it's a slightly better quality of plastic, or maybe it's a slightly better quality of metal, or maybe we want you to create a carbon fiber version of something you make in the metal, or whatever it is. Basically, we're going to level up and differentiate and curate in that way. Then there's the whole, okay, we're effectively just going to try to find a contract manufacturer. We're going to do all of our own design. We're going to do all of our own branding and everything. And basically, you're going to manufacture to our specifications these products. And so that's what I see as almost like the white labeling journey, all the way from something as simple as slapping your logo and your brand on there, all the way to, hey, we're having bespoke products contract manufactured for us with our brand and with our quality standard, and then they're going to ship it directly to our customer's door. And it feels like that's a journey, and it feels sure there's value in curation, which is effectively the first step, which is they don't even put your label, they don't even put your brand on it. We're just selling somebody else's stuff underneath our retail brand. That's not white label at all, but it feels like taking it that next step further and saying, how can we start injecting our brand at every step of the buyer journey, not just the retail brand that somebody logs into and sees, but actually throughout the entire consumer and customer journey with us. We want to have that be uniquely tailored for us. Does it feel like that is something that is important to go down that path, if at all possible, for a start off? But also, how do you guys bring that kind of tooling into your platform to help people along that journey that they may want to go down?
Sure. And you said the right word. That's a journey, right? That's the dropshipping, the real dropshipping arc, so to speak. You're starting with selling somebody else's products. You get your feet under you, then you start adding the labels, which, speaking of how we interact with that, with our CJ Dropshipping partnership, they will handle that kind of labeling and adding your logos and stuff like that to the product. And then the next step is, I think that's really where you're talking about bringing inventory or even buying in bulk, where you have not only is your logo in the box, but your logo is on the items, or even you're customizing the items, you're providing a little bit of different type of manufacturing. But at that point, I think you're no longer dropshipping, but you're building on top of the foundation that you built when you built your dropshipping business. And then we see people doing a mix and match of that, right? So you find the product, you're selling it through just the dropshipping model. You're finding these products that you can then brand and then build up entire businesses and stores around them, where now this is a branded store that is just featuring that one product. But you've used the dropshipping model to find these products and then get some sales for them, validate them, and then take them to the next level, where you're confident that, hey, I'm already selling 100 of these a day. Now's the time to take it and build it into an actual brand, and then start selling 1,000 of these a day, right? And market it and spend the budget on that. So absolutely. That's what's so exciting about dropshipping, is that whatever you learn at this stage of the e-commerce journey, you're always going to be able to build on top of it and learn from it. and then take you to whatever path. Some people are just going to be happy dropshipping forever. And that to them is more than enough. Some people want to build a sustainable brand and have inventory and build warehouses, and that's valuable too. But absolutely, it's a journey, and it's you really make what you want out of it and take it as far as you want.
And if I have ambitions to be an omni-channel brand, so I'm going to sell through my own. Let's say I've got the Sell the Trend website and it's doing pretty well, but I also want to now start selling on Amazon. I want to sell on Walmart Plus. I want to sell on Target. I want to sell on all these marketplaces as well. Do you guys have connectors to these marketplaces that can push my catalog into these marketplaces? And then obviously pull the orders down into your fulfillment engine that then pushes the order out to the ultimate supplier and then fires through the address and goes through that process. How do you think about marketplaces in the context of Sell the Trend?
Absolutely. So that's something that is literally, speaking of, we're being built right now, these connectors. A TikTok shop, that's one of our main priorities, ability to push your products to TikTok and fulfill orders and all that kind of stuff. Amazon and all these other connectors are not going to be too far behind, because we do see customers that are asking for these features. And again, talking about what are customers asking as we're building up our entire platform. And that's definitely one of the things that they're asking for. And that's one of the things that we're building. So TikTok shop is one of the first connectors that we're going to be adding, but we're going to be adding a lot more going down the line.
And how do you think of your connectors to other e-commerce platforms? I know you connect with Shopify and WooCommerce today, and presumably that's because maybe somebody wants to have a blended catalog. Maybe they've got some products that they carry, that they warehouse locally, that they ship locally, and then maybe they want to add and supplement their existing catalog with products that then would be drop shipped. Is that kind of why you also connect to the likes of the Shopifys of the world, the WooCommerces of the world? And do you have ambitions to connect to other platforms, the Magentos, the BigCommerces, the other platforms that are out, the VTEXs, et cetera?
Sure. Again, we could add everything. We can connect to 100 different platforms. Tomorrow, we can start the work, get the dev team saying, hey, we want to connect to these 10 today, this month. It's all depend on what our customers are telling us. And when we look at our numbers, to be honest with you, the desire to connect to some of these other, for dropshipping, again, some of these platforms are super popular in other avenues. Maybe you're holding stock, or maybe other parts of the world where we're not as active in. But for us, we're connecting things that make sense for our audience and for the people that are quote unquote walking through the door. And then now that we've built our own e-commerce platform, our focus really is to build that, because it just makes sense for our customers to have that ease of use and that entire kind of all-in-one functionality. But we will definitely connect with other applications if it makes sense and if the demand is there. I never say no to anything, because it's not serving the customer at the end of the day. If we say no, we're not doing that because I don't really like it, I don't want to do that. Yeah, the customers want this, but who cares? Like, what are we doing over here? We want to make sure that we're building something that people want to use. So if they say to us, hey, tomorrow we want to connect to this, if it makes sense, we'll do it. Absolutely.
Completely. Now you got to find that perfect product market fit, and the product market fit is not one and done. It's continuous product market fit is what you're trying to find. So it's a journey, not a destination. And how do you typically recommend that your merchants deal with the fact that drop shipped products, they're not going to get to the customer overnight? It's 1 to 4 weeks, sometimes 1 to 6 weeks, depending on the supplier performance. And
Sure.
So how do you recommend, as part of your training and as part of your onboarding process, how do you suggest that merchants be both transparent but not kill conversion in the process? Because obviously that's a fine line. If I flat out tell customers your product's going to get to you in 4 to 6 weeks, that's probably going to be a conversion killer. But then again, if I'm not transparent about that, they're going to ultimately be disappointed and they're not going to come back and buy from me again a second time. So
Sure.
how do you strike that balance between honesty, transparency, and conversion rate optimization? How does that affect how you go to market?
Absolutely. So this is obviously one of our top priorities, is shipping and making sure that when somebody adds a product from Sell the Trend to their website, that these products are going to ship as fast as possible. So we handle that in 2 different ways. First, you got to definitely set expectations, right? So you're absolutely right. You got to set reasonable expectations so that people understand that they're buying this product. It's not going to come in 24 hours. So you got to set the expectations. But also, we've always knew that shipping is a super important part of dropshipping. And that's really why we're working with CJ Dropshipping. And even with AliExpress, is we have the capability within Sell the Trend to filter by AliExpress warehouses that will ship from local destinations. So if you are shipping to a UK customer or Australian customer or a Brazilian customer, you can specify within the Seller Trend application, you can choose that you want to find products that will ship from Brazil or that will ship from the UK. And then we'll just show you those products that will be actually shipping from those warehouses for faster shipping, right? So not everything is going to ship from China, right? That's, I think, some of the misconceptions that some people have about AliExpress and drop shipping and drop shipping in general, that, oh, everything's going to ship from China. Everything's going to take 4 weeks. Everything's going to be super slow. And then it's really not the truth. We've done besides obviously partnering up with AliExpress and CJ Dropshipping and talking to their support people and their management, we've tested this stuff ourselves, because obviously we're promoting this to our customers. When we say to our customers, this product will ship from 4 to 13 days, which is what AliExpress USPS shipping is, 13 days seems like that's 2 weeks. What does that mean? But 4 is a reasonable amount of time. So we've tested many products. We've shipped to the States and we've shipped to these different countries. We've done our own testing to make sure that, yes, when you are shipping a product that says from the UK, it's going to take 3 to 5 days from UK to UK, it is actually going to arrive in 3 to 5 days. On Seller Trend, you can find local shipping warehouses, and then you're going to be able to get the products to your customers faster.
And how has the advent of platforms like Shein, Temu, etc., to a lesser degree, Wish, although they've killed their brand with crappy products, how has the advent of these direct from China platforms that are subsidizing every single sale? I think the latest statistic was that Temu is subsidizing on average the cost of every single sale by around $40 or $38 or something like that. So the reality is they're spending billions and billions of dollars a year effectively trying to capture market share by subsidizing everything that is purchased on their platform. How do you feel that has impacted drop shipping as a business model and as an opportunity?
Yeah, so I think we get this question. We get this question a lot. Is like, why would somebody want to buy my product from my website when they can go on Amazon and they can get it 24 hours? And why would anybody want to do that? Like, why would anybody want to buy from me? What's the point? And one thing that I realized a long time ago is that people are lazy, right? People inherently are lazy, and people want that initial instant gratification of what they see in front of them right now. So there will be a subset of people that are going to be bargain hunting, and they'll see your product advertised, whether it's on social media, or TikTok, Facebook, any of that kind of stuff. And they're going to take that product. They're going to copy the name. They're going to go try to find it on Temu. They're going to try to find it on Amazon. They're going to try to find it on these places. And they will maybe find that bargain deal, and then they'll buy from that. But there is the industry is so huge. There's a massive amount of people that will see your product advertised. You have a great looking page, you have a great ad. They'll see your product advertised, and they are going to buy from you because they gravitate to your ad, to your page, to the way everything's laid out on your website, and you're going to be able to make that sale. And then you're going to build up a customer base that you're going to then service them correctly and properly, and then engage with them through your email campaigns and all that kind of stuff, and then bring them back to your business. There's always going to be, like I said, competition. There's always going to be competition. Even if you're running an e-commerce business, a dropshipping store, there's always going to be competition. And the idea is you always have to move and adjust to support that. But the whole idea that, even the better one, I've seen this product on Facebook, it's oversaturated, nobody's going to buy it. It's like, why should I even place it on my website? And I'm like, you know how many people are on Facebook? 2 billion people on Facebook. If you can't sell to 2 billion people, if you think you saw it once on Facebook that said the market is saturated, then maybe you don't know what 2 billion means. So yeah, so the opportunities are limitless. Your imagination is the only limit.
Makes complete sense. And if you were to look out over the next, say, 12, 18 months, what's on your product roadmap that either your customers are asking for, or you see some gaps in the market that you say, we're going to run hammer and tongs at this gap in the market? What are some of the things that are high priority for you to add to your platform over the next 12, 18 months?
Yeah, we're always, like I said, we're always looking to expand our offering. We're always looking to add features and listen to our customers. And there's like a litany, like a massive list of things that we are working on. Some of them I don't like to share preemptively because their competition is always listening, to be honest with you. And if I count the amount of times that I've seen features that are completely directly taken from our website by competition, it just blows your minds. But having said that, we're always going to be moving forward. Obviously, improving shipping, it's something that we are super conscious of. So you will see some additional advancements in shipping and faster shipping to certain destinations. That's something that you can definitely look forward to on Sell the Trend, and as well as building up our e-commerce store shops, our e-commerce platform, and then really adding some additional apps to it that people have been asking for, so that you're wandering eye to go, hey, maybe I should try a different e-commerce platform because they have this other app, this other quantity break or other thing. You're not going to want to do that once we release some of these additional apps that are coming to Sell the Trend. Always making sure that at the heart of it, finding great products is going to be always at the heart of Sell the Trend. But we are very well aware of the things that our audience wants, and we are definitely going to strengthen those moving forward this year.
Love it. And when we think about how you guys make your money, it's pretty transparent, right? And you're a SaaS platform, and you've got two different tiers. You've got the $39.97. You got the Pro at $99.97 with these different features. You've got the standard matrix there that shows all the different features of the platform. So you're a pure SaaS platform. You don't take a percentage of revenue or percentage of sales. You're a pure subscription-based platform. Is that right?
That's correct. That's correct.
Wow, amazing, amazing. The reality is, if you can't find a business and you can't build a business that can cover the cost of $100 a month, then you probably shouldn't be in business, is the way I see it. If the reality is, if you've got all the tools there to help someone build a business and they can't cover the cost of $100 a month, then they probably should go do something else and maybe go be an employee.
Or even 40. You can totally launch with $40 a month on Sell the Trend. You don't even have to get the Pro plan. And I love the fact that you say that, is that we're giving you an entire platform for a small amount of money in the scheme of things, right? Different money means different to a lot of different people, but that's really what we're providing. Now, like what I said earlier, is that we're giving you all the tools for a reasonable amount of money. Now, what are you going to do? How can you spend the rest of the budget that you have to build your business? And that's really on you. So we try not, nickel and dime people. We try not to overburden people with different tiers and too many different upsells and all that kind of stuff.
The tyranny of choice.
We want people to see exactly what they're going to be paid for.
Yeah.
And use the features that they're paying for. So I've always made sure that we have that, and that's not going to change.
Love it. Love it. Rush, this has been a fascinating conversation. You've made me rethink this whole concept of dropshipping. You seem very legit. You seem very transparent. You seem very honest versus some of these dropshipping programs and training modules and courses that you can do that make it just seem, hey, look, you flip a switch and you're an overnight millionaire by being a dropshipper. And I think what you're trying to say is, yes, you can become very wealthy dropshipping, but you're going to have to bust your ass to do it, like you would with any other business or business model. Now, as we come down to the end of our time together, this is where I get to flip the script. I get to hand the microphone over to you. I get to let you ask me one question, any question you like, to be personal or professional. So Rush from Sell the Trend, what is your question for me today?
So what do you feel like the biggest challenge when somebody comes to you and asks you for your consulting, for your advice? What do you feel the biggest blocker that people have when they try to get into e-commerce and they feel like they're not getting sales or they're not getting the results that they're after? What do you feel is that the main block?
Because I focus so heavily on B2B e-commerce now, I've doubled down on that over the last 2 years. I've really niched down hard on that. And it primarily comes down to most brands and businesses in the B2B world still don't do e-commerce at all. Like, they've never done it. And so therefore they might have a 20, 30, $40 million a year business, but none of it is through e-commerce. Or what they consider e-commerce is EDI, or what they consider e-commerce is punch out. It's not self-service e-commerce as we know it through a website. And so oftentimes when they come to me, they don't really know where to start. They go, hey, we've got buy-in. We know we need to do this. We've got customers asking for it. They have the expectation that they don't have to go through their sales rep for every single purchase they make. They don't have to generate a PO and send an email and attach it and all that sort of stuff. They want to just be able to come. They want to be able to log in. They want to be able to do it after hours. They want to be able to make a purchase. And so oftentimes it's simply a case of they don't know what's possible. They don't know the advancements that have been made in B2B commerce technology over the last 5 to 6 years. They don't know because they don't have their finger on the pulse of that market. And so oftentimes when you come in, it's about expanding their concept of what is possible nowadays with modern technology, modern integrations with ERP, modern integrations with WMS, modern integrations with search, merchant, and personalization platforms. Like, sometimes you go in and literally you start talking about this stuff after you do a discovery with them, and you find out how they run their business, how they want to run their business, how they want to create a better customer journey and a customer experience with them, and they want to create a better interface between the business and the customer. Once you start saying, we could look at doing this, we should probably get a demo of these platforms because it meets the 80-20 rule. 80% of the functionality you require as a business is out of the box with these platforms. So once we start doing demos and once you start explaining to them and showing them, because I believe in show, don't tell, once you start showing them what's possible, it usually blows their mind. They go, we didn't know that this was possible nowadays, because oftentimes they built their entire company on the back of field sales or inside sales, account management, customer service, taking orders over the phone, over live chat, email, carrier pigeon, fax. Then the B2B world is probably 10 to 15 years behind from an e-commerce perspective where the B2C world is. And so this is what I'm seeing most of all, is that B2B businesses have avoided e-commerce because they put it in the too hard basket, because it's taken a long time for the tech vendors to catch up to where the B2B world is, because running a B2B business is significantly more complex than running a B2C business. And they've got a lot more nuances. Their sales cycles are longer. Their products tend to be a lot more complex. And they're also products that people don't recognize from their everyday life. So if you're selling coffee mugs, everybody and their dog knows what a coffee mug is. If you're selling a pump with an inlet diameter, an outlet diameter, a throughput, a certain amount of head, you've got all these technical aspects and these technical attributes of B2B products. And historically, the B2C platforms have been terrible at being able to support B2B e-commerce. They just haven't been architected for it. Things like customer groups and unique price lists and MOQs and all that sort of stuff. And so what I'm seeing is now that the technology is really rapidly catching up with where B2B brands are at today, this is the hardest thing, is where do we start? And how do we upskill in-house? Because we might know everything there is to know about B2B. We don't have anybody in the business that knows about e-commerce. And so it's about how can we maybe either train up and promote some people from within who know B2B inside and out, and how do we upskill them on the e-commerce piece? Or vice versa, how do we go out and maybe hire someone from the market that knows everything there is to know about e-commerce, but then we have to bring them in and we have to school them up on our business and all the nuances of B2B. And so these are the kind of discussions I'm having on the regular. It is, and I tell you, I love it because I'm super passionate about this space, but I've been in it for over 20 years. And so to see that almost like childlike wonder on the behalf of my clients, when they realize what's possible, they go, wow, we had no idea that you could automate and you could digitalize these super complex sales processes that we have with CPQ, configure, price, quote technology. We didn't even know that stuff existed. We thought we had to do that through sales reps. So it's renewing and refreshing my passion for the industry every single day. And it's super exciting. Now, Rush, how do you like people to get a hold of you? Website, obviously your personal LinkedIn. And I also notice you have a app in the App Store, in the Shopify App Store, if people want to integrate, Sell the Trend with Shopify as well.
Perfect.
Are you a B2B or D2C e-commerce merchant? Then head over to greenwoodconsulting.net to learn how we can help you scale your business.